Alright guys, got my front assembly apart and starting to make a little bit of progress here. So everything's clean, ready to be assembled. A couple things I had to do, I know I explained this before in my last video, is to free these up, you squeeze them with the pliers, here and here, which I'm not a really big fan of. I kind of wish there wasn't a problem on the original 8 when they had the bigger eyelet ends. They revised the plastics or something, and I just kind of think it's a piss poor design, really, because they bind up pretty much after every couple of runs, and you got to go through and do that. Even on the damn sway bar links, you get the same problem. I had to squeeze the hell out of these, and actually I squeezed one too hard and broke it, so I had to replace it. That's one of the downfalls I really am kind of disappointed about this. The quality of the parts are good, but I mean they could have, I don't know, they could do something a little better with that. But I mean, I guess with every kit, every car's got their downfall, and this just happens to be one of them. The other thing is the eyelet problem. Didn't have that problem on the 2.0. What I think the problem is they went with these tapered springs, I think to allow more clearance between the axle and control arm and all that. But now the spring, because it isn't even, if you ask me, it is now unstable and wants to do this more when it's on the vehicle, because it's more flexible up here where it's wider and it's less flexible here. So I think the spring cocks, puts more pressure on an angle on the shock, and that's what causes it to happen. So I'm actually not a fan of these tapered springs. I think that's the reason. I'm not sure. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's about it. Front differential's in good shape, but there is never a problem with that. All the bearings were in good shape on this, so when you guys clean your vehicles, I do suggest to take this thing, any of your cars, I don't care what kind you have, down pretty much to the nitty-gritty. You don't have to completely disassemble it, but get all the bearings out, and especially if you're going to be washing it in soap and water, you don't want any water exposed to the bearings. So this is why I completely take it apart. I don't wash my diffs off. I just leave them as is. I might scrub them down with a toothbrush just to knock the dust off of it, but I do not add any water, because the only time I'm going to be taking these bearings off, of course, is if I'm taking the differentials apart, and which I'm not doing this time, because this fluid actually only has one race day on it, and it was fine. Actually, I didn't even, I think there's only like 2 qualifying runs on it. I don't know. There's not much, so there's no sense in replacing the fluids. The shocks, I did put new fluid in the shocks. That's it. So what I'm going to be doing next is I have a new eyelet I have to dig out, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the eyelets onto the end of the shock end. So with the new revised, these I like. I think I've already explained these. These are the new what they did with the boots. The shock boots is they actually go around the shock shaft instead of around the eyelet and clamp onto it, so they won't rip. These lasted me all season. There's no tears in them, and these are the original ones from the kit when I first bought this thing, and there's still nothing wrong with them. There's no holes, no tears, no anything. So I'm a big fan of them. They didn't come with it on the buggy, but they came with it on the Truggy, and they are available on the buggy. I think I've already covered that in my last video, so I'm just going to update you guys on it. So, but when you do that, don't forget to put your boot on. If you have these boots, don't forget to put your boot on first, then glue your eyelet on, because you're never going to get the boot over the eyelet. So that's it. Like I said, I think what I'm going to do, I've never glued these on before, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. I think I'm just going to put a dab of tire glue on the threads and hurry up and wind on the new shock eyelet, and that's it. Just make sure that they're even, take a measurement with them and get them spun down so both your shocks, of course, are extending evenly, because it will throw off the suspension geometry of the vehicle. After that, I think what I'm going to do is, finish cleaning it up. I don't think I'm going to make any more videos until I get to the motor. I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and take a feel on the bearings. If the bearings feel rough, I'm going to take them out. If they don't, I know there's one engine that I do have to replace the bearings on, and I believe it's my buggy engine, the Keep Off 4. So I am going to take this apart and inspect it. It does need to be cleaned and rinsed out, flushed, and all that anyway. So if the bearings feel a little bit rough, because they're ceramic, I'm not taking any chances. I'm going to take them out and replace them. The piston and sleeve, these motors are still really tight. I'm actually very impressed with these motors. So they're pretty good. I like them. So I think that's it for now, guys. So I'll see you in my next video when I take apart my engine and inspect it, and if and when the bearings need to come out for this one. I'm gonna stop. I'll make a video, show you guys how to get the bearings out. I'm gonna do it the brutal way, and then when I get my bearing tool back from my buddy, I will do it that way. Either way is not really hurting anything. I do feel more comfortable about replacing the bearings with the bearing tool. But if you heat the motor up the right way, I'll show you, and you throw it in the oven, heat it up to, I don't know, about 325 degrees. You get a piece of wood, and you got to be careful, and you just kind of smack the block out, get the inside bearing out, and then you can use like a really good wooden dowel to punch the front bearing out. And you can do the front bearing when the engine's cold. There is a way to press them in too. You can either heat it up, push it in with your thumb. I'll show you guys when I get it that far, but you just kind of snap the bearing in, and then when you put your flywheel on and everything, the final seating of the bearing is done that way. So I will show you guys when I get that far. So hope you guys are having a good day. I'm taking an off day from work because we got about good 1.5 to 2 feet of snow. I couldn't even get out of my damn driveway, so I'm spending my day cleaning and maintaining my RC cars. So alright guys, I'm not going to ramble too much. You guys have a good afternoon, and we'll see you in the next video. Any questions, feel free to ask, and I will be glad to help you guys out. Thank you.